Hi, my name's Tash Frost, and to sponsor me for the MS Readathon, just come to readwithtash.com. Bye! Excuse me, Professor, Emily said, but how can mice possibly live up here where it's so cold? They live in tunnels under the snow. Here, Emily, I had this especially made just for you. With this, Professor Mousefinder handed her a special glove. He took off Emily's mitten and put his glove on her hand. At the end of one of its fingers was a long, thin piece of clear plastic. That's for your Eyefinger, the professor explained. All you have to do is poke your finger down in the snow until you find a mouse tunnel. Emily poked her finger down and looked through her Eyefinger, but there was nothing there, just snow. She put it out and stubbed it down again. Still, there was nothing. She did it again and again, walking across the snow and being very careful not to start sliding down the mountain. I don't think I'm very good at this, Emily said. Well, you're a lot better at it than I would be, Professor Mousefinder said with a laugh. Because I can't see through my finger. Emily poked and stabbed and stabbed. Finally, her finger went down into air. It's a tunnel, she said, and I think I see a mouse. What's it doing? Just watching my finger. I don't think it's seen an Eyefinger before, Emily said with a smile. Snow mice are curious but very shy too. The professor said, Okay, now for part 2 of my plan. With this, Professor Mousefinder scraped away the snow until he found the tunnel. But by this time the mouse had disappeared. I think he scared him away, Dad, Malcolm said. And now we scare him out into the open, the professor said, taking the toboggan and pointing it down the mountain. Here's what I want you to do. Malcolm screamed down the tunnel. Why me? Because snow mice are very hard of hearing. You mean they're deaf? Not completely, because it's always windy and noisy up here. They don't use their hearing much, so use that special scream of yours, the one that almost breaks windows. Then what? Hopefully a snow mouse or two will come popping up out of the snow. Then we can grab one. But how will we know where they pop up? Emily asked. We won't. That's where part 3 of my plan comes in. When snow mice are frightened, they pop up and then slide down the mountain. We're going to slide after them. Emily jumped in the front of the toboggan. Malcolm let out his best glass-breaking scream, and then he hopped into. In a second, snow mice popped up everywhere. When they did, Emily saw the strangest sight. They didn't slide down the mountain one at a time. They sat on one behind the other in groups of 5 or even 10, and then slid down the mountain sitting on their tails. "They're using their tails as toboggans," Emily cried. "This is great!" Professor Mousefinder jumped into the toboggan, and off they went. All around them were groups of snow mice sliding down the mountain. The professor got out a long pole with his special mouse catcher net on the end. "I can't see ahead of us, Dad," Malcolm yelled. "Snow is coming right up in my face." "Mine too," Emily cried. "Just keep your eyes on those mice," the professor said, pointing to a group of mice sliding down beside them. "Then lean to the left." Everyone leaned and the toboggan moved to the side. In a second, the professor had scooped up 6 scrolling mouses in his net. To be continued.